was 19 when this happened. I was on a solo road trip to visit a friend in another state. It was late, around 11 p.m., and I was too tired to keep driving, so I pulled into a cheap roadside motel. The place was run down, buzzing neon sign, a mostly empty parking lot, and just one person working the front desk. I got a room on the ground floor. The room smelled faintly like cigarettes, and the carpet was sticky. But I was exhausted. I locked the door, pulled the thin curtains closed, and climbed into bed. I remember waking up in the middle of the night, not sure why. At first I thought it was a dream, but then I noticed something strange. The curtain wasn't fully closed. A sliver of light from the parking lot cut through the room, and in that thin gap, I saw a face. Someone was standing outside the window looking in. At first, I froze, hoping I was imagining it, but then I clearly saw movement, a shadow shifting. Whoever it was, they were breathing against the glass. I wanted to scream, but I didn't want them to know I was awake. My phone was on the nightstand. I slowly reached for it, trying not to make noise. As I grabbed it, the person outside tapped lightly on the glass. Just 3 slow taps, like they knew I was watching them back. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought I'd faint. I dialed the front desk, whispering. I told the clerk someone was outside my room staring at me. He said he'd send someone right away. I stayed completely still. A minute passed, then another. I kept watching the window, and then the face was gone. By the time the motel staff came knocking, no one was there. They searched the lot, but didn't find anyone. I stayed up all night with the lights on, terrified they'd come back. The next morning, when I checked out, I noticed something outside my window. On the glass, faintly visible in the daylight, were smeared handprints, right at the level of my face. When I was 14, I stayed over at my best friend Emily's house one Friday night. Her parents went to bed early, so we stayed up late watching movies in her room. At around 2 a.m., we finally decided to sleep. We both lay in sleeping bags on the floor. Her bed was against the wall and her window was directly across from us. It was summer, so the window was open to let air in. At some point in the middle of the night, I woke up to what I thought was rustling outside. At first, I figured it was an animal, but then I heard breathing. Slow, heavy breathing. I turned my head toward the window, and I swear there was someone crouched just outside, looking in. I couldn't make out their face clearly, but the pale outline of a head and shoulders was unmistakable. They were so close, I could see the glass fog slightly when they exhaled. I whispered Emily's name, but she didn't wake up. Suddenly, the figure leaned closer. I saw teeth, a smile. I panicked and screamed. Emily shot up, and her dad came running into the room. By the time he turned on the outside light and opened the window, whoever it was had already bolted into the trees behind the house. Her dad searched with a flashlight, but found nothing. For the rest of the night, Emily and I slept in her parents' room. I couldn't stop thinking about that smile, pressed so close to the glass. 2 weeks later, her family's motion sensor light went off at 3 a.m. When her dad checked outside, he found footprints in the dirt under Emily's window. Someone had come back. This happened when I was 22. I had just moved into a new apartment and didn't have much furniture yet. So for the first few weeks, I slept on the couch in the living room. One night I woke up suddenly, heart racing. The kind of wake-up where you know something's wrong. At first I thought maybe it was just a nightmare, but then I noticed it, the faint sound of breathing that wasn't mine. I slowly turned my head. In the dim glow from the streetlight through the blinds, I saw someone standing in the corner of my living room, perfectly still. They were tall, wearing dark clothes, and just watching me. I tried to convince myself I was dreaming, but then the figure moved, just one slow step closer. I grabbed my phone and fumbled to dial 911. The moment I whispered into the phone, the figure darted into the kitchen. I heard the back door slam open. The police came within minutes. They searched, but the person was gone. The officer asked if I had left my back door unlocked. I realized I had. What terrified me most was the thought that whoever it was could have been standing there for hours before I woke up, just silently watching me sleep. Last year, I was traveling for work. My company booked me a nice hotel downtown. It was a high-rise building with keycard access to each floor. I felt safe. The first night went fine, but on the second night I woke up at around 3 a.m. to the sound of my hotel room door clicking. At first I thought I was imagining it, but then I heard it again, the sound of the handle being pressed down. I froze. Then the door slowly creaked open. A man stepped inside. He wasn't wearing hotel staff clothes. He looked dirty, disheveled, and he just stood there in the doorway, staring at me in bed. I whispered, "Hello," and he didn't respond. He just kept staring. I scrambled to grab the phone and call the front desk. The man stepped further into the room, and in the dim light I saw he was holding something in his hand, a set of keys. Before I could say anything else, he turned and walked out. The door closed behind him. Security searched the floor, but they didn't find anyone matching his description. They told me it was impossible for someone to get in without a guest key card. But here's the part that makes my skin crawl. Those were 4 creepy true stories about strangers watching you sleep. Which story scared you the most? Comment below and subscribe for more true horror stories.